Hey, Kowalsky here. Welcome back to another video. Now, in this video, obviously, again, being Wednesday, but not a lot of people watch this video, so it's just more of like for myself. But okay, I'm gonna come back with the next storyline here. So we have challenger Mr. Isidor Gunsberg from Hungary, and obviously the defending champion Wilhelm Steinitz. Now, the thing is, Chigorin he won the 1887 American Chess Congress, so that's why Steinitz picked him. And now Isidor Gunsberg, he finished in third, but there was another gentleman that finished in second, named Max Weiss. And you know, he wanted to continue his work, and therefore you know, Mr. Isidor Gunsberg got his chance at the title shot in 1890. So you know, the match was played in the city of New York, and you know, it was actually a pretty interesting match. Now the thing is, again, there was not really like a lot of money for the players here. They basically played for $1,500, and you know, that's even for that time not that much money. So you know, there are some interesting storylines inside the match, but before that I want to thank the user FM Asra, I think, yes, Arna, sorry, Arna, FM Arna, for creating these beautiful studies for the World Chess Championships that I have been using. Obviously he's credited in the description, but I just wanted to mention that here. So you know, before we start, I just want to make sure every single game is nicely prepared, and yes, they are. So you know, we're just gonna look at the games as per usual, and then we're just gonna see the clothes just finished washing, and then we're just gonna see how the game progressed, the match progressed. So oops, a wrong scene. That's the right scene. So we have the match. Okay, here's a nice photo of Steinitz on the right here playing against Gunsberg on the left, and the game, the match kicks off with Steinitz winning the second game. Actually, the first game was drawn, and then Steinitz won the second game. It was a pretty long battle, but Steinitz ended up winning that game. Okay, so game number 4, actually Gunsberg managed to strike back, and that's where we kind of get the following story. Steinitz caught a cold, and well, that brings us to game number 5 that Isidor Gunsberg won. Now, why this game is interesting to look at? Well, just remember the opening. It's a Queen's Gambit, and look at the line. Well, it's a Queen's Gambit accepted, and this is the old variation with E3, and now we have this E5. Not very popular at you know, top play today, but still actually pretty popular, I should say, but not the most popular. So this d-takes on e5 has not been played by any super grandmaster, because this line here with the queen trade basically doesn't allow white to castle, and yes, white kind of gets the pawn for a second, but he's gonna lose that pawn anyway. And you know, at the end of this whole line, it's really only black who's up in development. So you know, Gunsberg does exactly that, and Steinitz's position is not looking that well. I mean, Gunsberg's already castled, got 4 pieces out, and meanwhile Steinitz only 2, and his king is just loose here on c2. And now after this knight f3 move, this is a big blunder that allows Gunsberg to basically seal the game if and only if he plays this move bishop f5 check. Why this is so important, you're gonna see in a second, because the king has only one square, and that is king to b3. And after this move king to b3, you can actually just go knight e to d7, for example, setting up knight to c5, which is getting out of the way of this knight. What Gunsberg did in the game, he played knight e to g4, still keeps the advantage, but allows Steinitz to kind of stabilize for a second. Now he gives the check, but after king b3, it's kind of a little bit, you know, more fine, because now you don't have two knights attacking, you only have one knight attacking. But now e4, and Steinitz blunders the game right back. Knight c5 check, and now after the king retreats, you just take. Here you just take with check, king takes on c3, because here you can take the bishop, but now just knight takes on e2, and you end up just losing a piece. So instead, you know, Steinitz takes the knight, but I mean, now you can see how the position is just I mean, it's just way out of his control. You know, Gunsberg just centralizes his bishop, and now the game is not really anything too special. He just rotates the knight once again, the same idea. Now plays f6, and here just finishes the game in a very nice style with rook to d3. It's actually made in 5. I'm just gonna show it quickly because it's pretty interesting. Now rook to d4 check. Obviously the king cannot move here. King a5, and it's actually made in 1. Bishop d8 is the mate, and if b4 is tried, now obviously rook takes on b4, and here if king a5, not the same thing, but just rook b5 check, for example, here. And now this very nice mate with bishop c2, and here if king to a3, just rook to b5, and then the same idea applies. So you know, Steinitz vowed to play during this match the Queen's Gambit until he won, and he actually won the next game, but this is game number 7, so watch the opening again. Okay, we got it. It's the same variation. Now he plays not e3 but knight f3, so this is like the normal variation, but he plays e3 nonetheless. But now he's got his knight out, and there's no more e5, so it's a different story now. Steinitz manages to castle long, queens are still on the board, and he has just a very nice development here. So bishop b7, right, this is a very standard practice. If the diagonal is not taken by the bishop on g2, queen to b3, and now Gunsberg decides to give up the bishop, which kind of gives white an edge. Why? Because look at this battery and all these pieces just staring at the king. I'm not saying that sacrifices are going to be made, but what I'm saying is that black has to do something about it. And now with this move bishop d5 happening, bishop takes d5, e takes on d5. Now, you know, Steinitz goes bishop a3 attacking the rook, and now c4. A very nice move, now trying to open up the position, maybe get the rooks involved, and you know, just making sure that you break the center and you have an attack on this f7 pawn. And here Gunsberg plays the right idea. He plays c5. Obviously if c4 happens, you usually have to play c5 to just counter attack in the center. But now rook ac1, and as I was talking about this activation, now he goes a little bit astray here with the move knight e4. What he should have done, and what is usually played in these positions, is c takes on d4, because after e takes on d4, now yes, you're still under attack, but you have a way to activate your pieces. And now okay, maybe the move knight a6 is a little bit of obscure here. It is the best move according to the engine, but even a move like d takes on c4 would have been better than what he played, because now after, for example, queen takes on c4 with an attack, you don't get the attack, you get queen to d5. So here you would have to take, for example, with the knight, and now again there are a lot of traps in the position. This is a poison pawn. Now just a very beautiful idea, knight to d6 with a double attack here, and it's not like you can defend, just go rook f8, now just knight back to b5, and you pick up the exchange. So there's a lot of potential in this position, but okay, after the move knight e4, now this basically just allows rook to d1, and you're gonna say, well, what's so special about this rook to d1 move? Well, it's special because at the end of this whole file there's a queen, and after cd4, ed4, here you're forced to take with the pawn. You cannot just take with the rook, because now you just lose your knight. I mean, it's you're forced to take with the pawn, and now f6, and here Steinitz just demonstrates a very nice way of converting the game. He sacrifices the knight, gives the check, centralizes his queen, and you know, Gunsberg tries to sacrifice his knight back. If the knight is taken, yes, he gets some sort of counterplay, gets time to you know, retrieve his rook from protect his rook from the attack here in the corner. And but you know, Steinitz just calmly rook to d2, now takes the knight with the rook, and after this move, knight f6 plays a very nice move. Boom, he sacrifices the rook, and now he plays d7, and he forces the Gunsberg to move his rook, and now he just takes here, and here after the rook is moved to pin the pawn, you just sacrifice because you're gonna get back, and now Gunsberg just resigns, because even if you try something like this, well, just e7 and then you make a queen. So that's game number 7, and Steinitz you know, got the lead in game number 7, and you know, he basically had at this point he won another game. He had, after game number 10, he had a 3-point lead. So that brings us to the game number 12, with the score being 6-3. So you know, Gunsberg really is looking for a win in this match, and you know, I might have spoiled already a little bit with this introduction, but it's important to keep in mind the opening. Now, the story about this one is that Steinitz actually challenged Gunsberg to a theoretical battle in the Ivan's Gambit. Wow, I'm very slow. And he challenged him to a battle. So Gunsberg actually played the Ivan's Gambit, and if you remember this line, this has been played by Steinitz himself, and he played this in the match against Chigorin, and in that match he really played the line with knight e7, and it looks like in this match he switched it up with a little bit of knight h6. So knight a3, and we kind of see the similar patterns in the position c6, but we all know how Steinitz's, you know, Ivan's Gambit, especially this line, did not, you know, score the most perfect against Chigorin. So bishop c7, now knight to c4, attacking the queen, and you can already see excuse me, how Steinitz is getting pushed back again. But okay, d6, and you have to be a little bit careful. Now the thing is, b5 looks here appealing to just get this fork, but what's very interesting and a very nice, yes, you can save the queen, but a very nice line is d takes on c7, and you cannot take the queen because you're just getting mated in one. You can actually make a rook. Look at this king, and that's just to highlight how bad Steinitz's position is. So he has to take the pawn, and now this baits the bishop out of the control of the b6 square, and you just have knight b6. If you take the knight, well, just queen takes on a8, and now I mean, Isidor Gunsberg just has massive access to the back rank. You're gonna lose a lot of material. So Steinitz tries rook to b8. We have queen takes on a7 nonetheless, and after this desperate knight activation attempt, Gunsberg just ends the game very nicely. Knight e6, bishop takes on g4, knight takes on g5, knight f5 attacking the bishop, knight back to e6, and now just rook f to d1, attacking the bishop once again, as it's all defended only once. Bishop back to c7, but now knight a8, and the threat on the bishop is bigger than the bishop itself, because let's say a random move is made, the threat here is just queen takes on b8, obviously, but also all sorts of knight to d6 checks, because if you go back now, again, just queen to b8, and there's no stopping the mate. So knight to a8, and here Steinitz is forced to sacrifice his rook, his exchange, but now just Gunsberg, immense move found here. This is not the only move, obviously. You can play rook d2 and double up, but this is just a very nice forcing line. After king d7, rook d1, Steinitz just resigned, because you can block with the knight once, like c takes on d4, and like survive for a little bit. Yes, material is actually equal in this position, but what are you gonna play? E takes on d4, well, just I mean, that's just inviting the attack. King to e6, and I mean you're just gonna lose here. There's no point in continuing this line any further. So that was game number 12. Now actually Steinitz managed to bounce back after this one, winning one more game, but that brings us to game number 16. Keep in mind the difference is still of 3 and the score is 8-5. So Isidor Gunsberg either has to make a comeback now or the game is pretty much gonna be sealed, and you know, because it's a best out of 20, so you know, it's first to 10.5 basically. So Steinitz is almost there, and no, sorry, in fact the game score actually at this point is 8.5 to 6.5. Yeah, it's 8.5 to 6, and no, it's 8.5 to 5.5. The game, the score difference is still 3, and Isidor has the white pieces e4, e5, and now he plays this line again. So can Steinitz retaliate and just, you know, beat him in the line again? Now we have h6. So the difference between last game, and now basically Steinitz is not allowing bishop g5 anymore, but what he is allowing is this queen a4 and now bishop to b5. This is not the best move. Why? Well, because now it just allows black easy you know, just stabilizing the position in an easy manner. Bishop a3, and now you just don't get the same pressure. He takes on d4, e5 now even, but now just queen to g6, and Steinitz is just perfectly fine. C takes on d4, and now just knight jumps into d5. You know, Isidor just failed to open up the center. He doesn't have an attack here. Rook e1 is tried, but just knight f4, and now mate is threatened, and obviously the Hungarian chess player sees it. He's challenging Steinitz after all, and he plays g3, queen g4, and now knight b to d2, just defending the knight. Easy. Knight h3 check, king g2, and here's where Steinitz goes a little bit wrong. He plays knight to g5. Now computers suggest knight f4 as you know, the best move. King h1, and now just going back knight h3. And if you make a draw as black here, you're happy, but you know, maybe white is gonna try here something else to not repeat. For example, maybe a move like rook e2 or rook f1. So instead of that, Steinitz chose to go back knight to g5, but now the game quickly takes a turn in the wrong direction for him after the move, not bishop b2, after the move d5, and this would have been just an amazing found by Gunsberg. Why? Because here you're trading queens. So first of all, you're attacking your opponent's queen. Second of all, you're attacking your opponent's knight. And third of all, you're threatening e6, which is massive. So after the queen trade, now let's say a move like knight d4 happens, because you don't really want to go back knight e7. Now you're just gonna die after e6. So let's say knight to d4. Well, you could go e6 right away, but let's just say knight takes, bishop takes, and here you can go e6 again, but it's in fact not even the best move. First you have to move the rook out of the harm's way, and now black is just without a move. You cannot castle, the bishop prevents that, and you just cannot do anything. For example, b5 is like just a desperate attempt to try to activate the bishop, but now just rook takes on c7, for example, and you know, bishop takes on d5, you just go king f1, and you're done. Bishop e6 doesn't matter actually. h4 and knight h7, you're just getting destroyed here. It's not even about getting mated. I mean, just look at this position. It's just crushing. So you know, bishop b2 by Gunsberg, he really misses this whole idea here, and knight to e7 is played, but now this only makes things worse. Bishop e2 and knight back to e6, and wait a second, is Steinitz's queen just getting trapped? And that's how the game ends. The queen just literally got trapped. There's no way there's nowhere for the queen to go. It's just trapped. So you know, just I mean, a crazy turn of events here as Isidor Gunsberg picks up another win. But sadly for him, this brings me to the last game, and now you probably know the result. Yes, Steinitz won the match. The last game actually ended in a draw, but this is where a little bit of drama kind of you know, happens. Steinitz could not be physically ready at the board for the time of this game because they had a Christmas break, and probably he couldn't get back in time, or he had something else to do, or maybe he was just sick. But Steinitz's letter did not arrive at this you know, the place that they were playing. So basically, Mr. Gunsberg could have just claimed a win by, you know, by his opponent not being present, but he chose the sportsman-like approach, and he actually declined, you know, the win claim. So they actually played game 18, and I think this kind of relates to an event that happened back all the way back into game 6. In that game, Steinitz actually did not claim a win when Gunsberg you know, failed to meet the time limit, so he exceeded the time limit on a certain set of moves. So because there were agreements on the time, so he exceeded that time, but Steinitz did not claim the win. Again, choosing to be respectful of his opponent and actually wanting to play the game. So it's, you know, back then they actually wanted to just duel it out. They preferred playing over winning because maybe it's just about respect. But okay, we have the game, and Gunsberg has the white pieces. He opens up with e4, and we have the same old. Now he actually has a very nice score in this line, and they go back to the same thing. And this 97 line, you know, reminds me of the Chigorin match. So bishop b6, and we have kind of like the same thing, knight a3, and but you know what's different in this line compared to what he played against Chigorin was Chigorin played this d5 almost always, and you know, after knight d8 he kind of managed to get Steinitz you know, in a very close position, but here knight a3 played first, he takes on d4, and now knight b5. This approach sacrificing a pawn, making the queen move to g6, and only then taking back. It's actually allowing black to get some counterplay, and Steinitz you know, does just that, a6, and now Gunsberg goes crazy. But sometimes going too crazy is actually detrimental. d5. But now this move allows the crazy move 95, and I don't know if you remember this, but 95 was a winning move all the way back in some other games from the Chigorin match. Why? Because it attacks the bishop and it deflects the knight from the defense of his own bishop on g5. So therefore, knight takes on e5 is played, and now queen takes on g5 is just you know, possibility. But while it seems that Gunsberg's pieces are just ready to detonate, there's actually nothing. So he's forced to retreat, and then after the move queen h6, he's forced to retreat once again. Good thing for him is that this pawn is pinned. Steinitz cannot capture his knight. But again, this tension is not going anywhere, and this knight doesn't really have a very bright future here. So rook a to c1, now putting pressure on the c7 pawn, but just c6. And now c6 actually works for black, because you know, Steinitz tries to get his knight back into the game. c5, knight back to e2, and now just d6. And yes, this bishop is momentarily closed, but he's gonna get his opening real soon. Maybe bishop a7, maybe b5, maybe c4. And you know, meanwhile these knights are just placed in a really bad position. Knight to g3, you can try, but again, there's no real future for the knights. Bishop back to d8, now setting up b5 and c4. So we have e5, but now just as I said, b5, queen to a3, c4, and here again Gunsberg gets a little bit too desperate, trying to go for counterplay and you know, just danger levels, but he watched too much Gotham chess and he just simply, you know, did not play the right move. Knight takes on d5 is just possible, and I mean, you know, just bishop to c2, and now b4, queen to a4, queen takes on d6, and Steinitz just maneuvered just masterfully in this game, and he basically reduced Gunsberg's attack to nothing, and now is turning the gears and he's ready to start his own attack. He's now up 2 pawns, and let's see how he can seal the match and you know, basically just be in a, you know, just draw. He would be in a situation where he would just need a draw to win the whole thing. So we have bishop e4, knight to b6, and now this is just like basically a very easy thing to do for Steinitz. Here actually he made a little bit of an inaccuracy. Rook a7 would have been a little bit more accurate, but still nonetheless he's winning. Now he's only up a pawn, and you know, Gunsberg is still hoping for some sort of a mistake, and g6 is actually that mistake, so the match might not be over. Bishop takes on c8, rook takes on c8, queen b2 check, queen blocks. But now all of a sudden queen takes on b4. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And now wait. What, these pawns are weak. Hold up. Can Gunsberg make the comeback here? That would be an insane plot twist. Bishop to c7. Wait. What? Steinitz blundered. Gunsberg is winning, but he has to find like just an only move. This is the only move in the position that wins. That move is knight to e4. Why? Well, let's say, you know, black continues with his plan. Let's say he goes rook f to d8. You want to trade pieces, right? You're up material. Actually, you're not up material because you lost the second pawn, but you want to trade pieces because you're worse. And here, a simple idea. This is a setup. This is a setup that Gunsberg had to find in order to win. Just g3, and that's what the computer wants. Just, you know, basically making this bishop just bad on this diagonal, just unuseful. And then, you know, king g8, and now you can activate your own king, and you're slowly improving your position. So this was the only move, but Gunsberg played rook d4. Now he still has a small advantage, but he's not like winning. And after rook f to d8, now he plays the wrong idea. Here you should trade, but I think this was hard to do psychologically, because after a move like rook e1 and then maybe a move like a5, you're not really seeing what you can do. Obviously you cannot take the pawn, c3, and the pawn is just running, and now you're just gonna have to stop the pawn, and you know, black is gonna get a lot of counterplay off of that. So and coming back to this variation, like this would have been basically the only chance to try to achieve something, to just continuously build pressure. But the way that he did it, rook h4, king g8, now knight to g5, it just went wrong. Rook to d7, and now rook to e4, and I think the players just got into time trouble around this time because they started just playing some very inaccurate moves. Rook f to e1, now looking for this check desperately, but just rook back to d8, and now knight back to e2, attacking the pawn, but it's just too late. Knight to d5, attacking and defending at the same time. Queen a4, yes, you're attacking this pawn, but just queen f6 attacks your knight. Now you're forced to go back with the other knight as well. Bishop to b6, sorry. Rook c1, but now just c2, and yeah, it's just bad. h3, that shows you how bad it is. You cannot really take this pawn, obviously, because of queen a1 check. That's why h3 was played. And now you're just lost on the back rank. You're dead. So h3 is played here to make room, but now queen b2, and I mean it's just crushing here after the queen trade a5, and you know, Steinitz just defends his pawn very nicely. Rook d1 is the threat, g3 is tried here, bishop takes on f2, beautiful send here by Steinitz here. Basically, you don't have anything else to play. You have to play g3. This is the only move. And the move bishop f2 is not even like the top move. The top move, yes, it's just rook d1 check. Oops, sorry about that. And then just a4, and you just push the pawn. That's it. There's no way to like for white to stop you, because white has to just keep guarding this rook, and then this knight cannot get into the game via this square, because obviously you just take, again, you cannot take, the rook is unguarded, and you can never take the rook or the pawn. So it's, black is just tied down, white is just tied down. If you try knight e1, for example, again, this is just the same story. While you cannot push, because now this pawn is under attack, and can just play rook d2, and now you're getting just destroyed here. And if you try, for example, king f3, now just a3, and again, you just, there's no way for you to resist this attack. So g3, but Steinitz just makes this look very beautiful. He takes the exchange, and now he just plays rook to d1, knight comes back, a4, knight after d4, and now just make a queen, and Gunsberg just resigned because he's down the exchange, and you know, that's it. And you know, this match really, this game really put an end to the match. The next game was actually drawn, but it was a relatively long game. I'm gonna walk you through this game. Well, you can watch it, but okay, maybe not the most interesting. It just was definitely a clear draw from the beginning. Steinitz only needed a draw, and he played with the white pieces to get a draw. And while the game is running, and you can see that this is a draw, well, I'm just gonna get the closing thoughts on this match. Well, Gunsberg was actually not too far off. The match ended 10.5 to 8.5, but Steinitz still just a beast. Steinitz just a beast. I mean, even in this game, they made a draw, but Steinitz was just much better in this position. I mean, yes, the material is equal, and this might be holdable, but white just has just an amazing space advantage and is ready to roll over black in a second. Maybe move like bishop d3, bishop b1, just putting black in Zugzwang. Steinitz is just an amazing positional player, but we're gonna see more of him, so I'm not gonna just make a summary of his whole career. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a very long video, but hey, I like making it, and it's just very relaxing for me, keeps me you know, kind of attached to chess. So you know, if you watch, if you see this part, then I mean, you should comment something. I'm sure nobody will see this. It's kind of a weird thought, but I'm not gonna make this video any longer. I'll see you on the next one. Kowalsky out.